The world's population has touched 8 billion today. That's according to the United Nations. It's a big number and it will get bigger in the coming years. A peak of around 10.4 billion by the 2080s. A lot of that growth is expected to be concentrated in just 8 countries: Nigeria, Tanzania, the Democratic Republic of Congo and others, including India, which by next year will have more people than China. And with it will come increasing challenges: resource scarcity, rising unemployment, healthcare, impact on the climate. I'll discuss some of these with an expert in a moment. But first, a quick look at what it means to live in India currently through the eyes of some residents of Mumbai, India's most populated city.
If you ever plan to take a local train in Mumbai, you should know this. Getting off and on begins while the train is still in motion. There are simply too many people and everyone's in a rush. With over 20 million people, Mumbai is India's most populated city.
I have to stand like a lot of time. Sometimes only I do get seats to sit. I have to fight even sometimes to get in or to get down. So yeah, it's very stressful to travel in train.
Mohammad Khan is one of the many migrant workers who come to Mumbai to make a living. He works in a tannery inside Mumbai's infamous slum, Dharavi. He says Mumbai took him by surprise.
People here run like ants. The way ants move as a crowd, each one walking in its lane, indifferent to others around them. In that crowd, I too had to search for a livelihood.
In the last 30 years, Mumbai's population has grown by 8 million people. That's almost the entire population of New York City. Residents say the city's infrastructure hasn't been able to keep up with the growing population. Housing, sanitation, and basic facilities can be difficult to find. Pushpa Rathore has faced all of that.
At first, I didn't like Mumbai at all. Life in Mumbai is very tough. If you don't work, you can't eat. At the age of 25, I was waking up at 4 a.m. and collecting water from several places for us to use. In a 10 by 12 square feet area, we were 10 people living by making a small partition. To bathe and wash, we had to share only one bathroom. We faced a lot of problems. There was no tap in the house, no toilet in the house, there was nothing.
Despite the struggle, people continue to live in Mumbai and to migrate there. In India, it is the land of opportunity.
I was 16 or 17 when I came here from my village. My childhood was wonderful in the village. It was a peaceful place, unlike the crowds here. It had wonderful people, happiness, every facility, but no money.
And so for money, the hustle goes on. And whether people like it or not, that's what it takes to live in Mumbai.
And joining me now for more perspective is Dr. Aparajita Chattopadhyay, Professor at the International Institute for Population Sciences in Mumbai. Dr. Chattopadhyay, we see in Mumbai itself, where you are, how challenging it is to provide jobs, housing, healthcare for the city's residents. Expanding this to an India canvas, can the country sustain further increases in its population?
I feel that there is a need to clarify some numbers in terms of India's population. Yes, we are huge in terms of number next to China, but having said so, our fertility has gone down significantly, and we have achieved a total fertility rate that is replacement level fertility at 2, that is 3 years ahead of what was projected. So I think that India's population may not be a very big problem. We are doing fairly well since 1980s. Our growth rate is gradually falling down. And because of the momentum, till 2050, our population will increase and maybe till 1.6 billion marks. So in population parameters, in terms of demographic challenges, I think we are doing pretty well. But having said so, we need to take into consideration many other social issues and environmental issues. And I think our GDP growth talks quite positively in the sense that over the last 20 years, it is hovering around 7 to 8%. And until and unless you are having a good economic base, you cannot invest on
Exactly. Let's just. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm interrupting. Let's just try and move away from the figures for a second. Let me just ask you a simple, straightforward question. With 1.6 billion as a figure until 2050, is that a sustainable figure for India?
I'm very positive because if Europe is facing crunching of labors, I think we will excel in that front. And I believe that Indian population, if skill is being added, education and other modern skill building is being imparted, I think we will do fairly well.
Let's just talk about India itself, because when you look at the country, and this is something that you will have deeper knowledge of, there appear to be lots of variations in population growth. We seem to be seeing that in the north of the country, there appear to be some states in particular that are contributing more to the population growth in comparison to the south of the country. What explains this variance?
Yeah, obviously because of lack of education, access to health facilities, they started late, and but they will catch up. In the next 10 years, I think UP and Bihar may not be a big problem because their fertility has already started falling. And in terms of son preference, that we had a lot of problems since 1980s. Even son preference, I mean, sex ratio at birth is also showing some positive indicators. So if these parameters changes, I think UP Bihar may not create a problem. Yes, in the south, they have advanced their fertility decline, and their problem would be aging definitely in the near future that Europe is also facing. So migration could be a savior in that sense.
Do you think, does that therefore illustrate that the government's population control measures, if I can put it that way, seem to be working, at least in parts of the country?
Definitely, because we have not adopted the coercive measures like China, and we were quite liberal in that respect, and we have given basket of choice. Yes, having said so, we emphasized sterilization, but I think now time has come to shift the overemphasis on sterilization to other temporary methods of contraception, because people have already understood that larger family is not good. So yes, contraceptive choice shift is very much needed, along with more education, more skill building, more access to healthcare, and investment on research and development and innovation. And I think Indian brains are one of the finest brains in India. And so if we can progress well in innovations, rural development, and there are a number of industries we need to have good investment, we can address the problem in the job market too.
A lot of ifs there, but if they do happen, you seem to be painting a more positive picture. We'll leave it there for the time being. Dr. Aparajita Chattopadhyay from the International Institute for Population Sciences in Mumbai. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much.